Alright, so you guys know that I've been saying for weeks, I've been saying basically since the draft, I am Team Blue. SmackDown is my brand. I'm the SmackDown guy. This is my home show. But even I would have laughed at you if you had told me at the beginning of tonight that the Usos would have been the highlight of the night. Oh yes. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your September 6th SmackDown Live Go Home to Backlash review. Now, house cleaning up first, as always. If everything goes according to plan, big if everything goes according to plan, tomorrow night, 11 p.m. my time, you're going to have to figure out what that is your time. I'm in the Ontario, Canada area, so figure out your time zones. All things being equal, myself, Christian Guapo, will be doing a tackle for Backlash, so there will be no previews in this go-home show review. I will be saving that for tomorrow night. If, for whatever reason, that doesn't work out, I will get some sort of preview video out to you guys. If there's a preview with those guys tomorrow night, unfortunately, that means there will not be an NXT or a CWC review, but that may be an indicator of some things that are to come on this channel. I got a couple of decisions I gotta make as far as how the Wednesday nights go on this channel, but that's another story for another video. Coming into tonight, watching the pre-show, we know that we're going to see Ambrose and Styles face-to-face. We're going to see in the semifinals of the tag team tournament, we're going to get the American Alpha versus the Usos. We're going to get the Hype Bros versus Slater and Rhino. We go over the Talking Smack from last week, where we announced that Ziggler would indeed face The Miz at Backlash for the Intercontinental Championship. We get a promo from the American Alpha backstage showing a lot of respect to the Usos. You know, we're here to win, whatever, but we know what these guys have done. Very, very new guys to the roster, babyface, sort of respectful, you know, respect the people that came before you type promo. And there's going to be a women's panel hosted by Daniel Bryan, which is nice, and that's what starts the show. Daniel Bryan comes out with the SmackDown Women's title. The match is not only a 6-woman match at Backlash, it is a 6-woman elimination match at Backlash. Out of breath. I like the show. I'm excited. I'm out of breath. It happens. There's going to be a 6-woman tag tonight. That was kind of predictable. You know, you got 3 faces, you got 3 heels. It is what it is. Natalya and Naomi are still trying to remain relevant, so let's throw them in a tag match. We introduced Becky Lynch first, who comes out and immediately jokes that, hey, Brian, I figured you were going to bring out Nikki first. And Daniel Bryan says, no, you deserve to be called out first. You were, after all, our first female draft for SmackDown. And then he takes a minute to say, in a very, very tongue-in-cheek manner, hey, if you do want to see the Bellas, go check out Total Bellas. It debuts at whatever time, Roddy Raw. Natalya comes out and mocks Becky and says the worst thing that ever happened to her was getting drafted to SmackDown because she knew she'd be stuck on the roster with Becky. Alexa Fox. Yeah, that just happened. Alexa Bliss comes out and mocks Natty and Becky, which doesn't really make much sense because her and Natty are going to be on the same team. Whatever. Carmella comes out, does her sad little opening shtick that isn't getting over in the slightest, I will admit. The 3 heels start bickering, and Becky just, you know, sits there with a big fat smile on her face because these are her opponents. This is her opposing team later on tonight. The 3 of them step up to Becky, and her backup shows up in the form of Nikki Bella and, unfortunately, Naomi. The heels bail. Miz calls out Bryan in the back for making a match at Backlash without his permission. Why did Ziggler... You know, what did Ziggler do to deserve a shot at my Intercontinental Championship? Now, you guys have known for several weeks that I want to see this match. I want to see a long feud with some oomph behind it between Miz and Ziggler, because they've only had sort of passing in the night type matches, and a feud between them is going to be great, in my personal opinion. But if you follow the story, if you follow kayfabe, and if you follow the fact that Miz is a heel and he can bitch about whatever the hell he wants, he's fully right, because Ziggler got played up as the underdog to the world title match that he had last month, lost, came out and mouthed off to The Miz, came out and mouthed off to the boss, and that earned him a title shot. I love when the heel is bitching about something like this. It's one thing if they're totally talking out of their ass. it's another thing when you kind of sit there and you have to grumble and growl because what the heel says is technically true. Oh yes. Kind of like when I point out that Naomi sucks. You might want to brush it up under the rug and tell me that I'm racist, but it really just remains the fact that she, in fact, sucks. Oh yes. Next up, we got Miz versus Apollo Crews, a rematch from SummerSlam, which is nice. We're going to tie up that little loose end. Ziggler's on commentary. Headlock by Miz and a knockdown by Crews. Rolling front slams by Crews are really nice. Mudhole by the Miz. Dropkick by Crews and a moonsault off the apron. Now, I will say they do have to work on Apollo Crews' character a little bit. You know, just coming out, being the big, hulking, nice guy is only going to get him so far. But when he's pulling off ridiculousness, a guy the size that he is pulling that moonsault off the apron, that's kind of terrifying, if you want my honest opinion. Coming back from the commercial break, Miz rakes the eyes and hits that back and neck breaker that he does so well. Yes, it's one of his 5 moves of doom, but it's one of the better ones, so there's a thing. Mudhole stomp by the Miz, again in a surfboard stretch with a post. They have a pinning reversal sequence. The pinning reversal sequence is always a thing that's going to build a little bit of tension in the match. But it's so odd to watch a pinning reversal sequence between Apollo Crews and The Miz, or any people with those type of dynamics, because a reversal sequence between two guys that have such a size disparity always does look a little weird. Perched corner clothesline by The Miz, another one of my favorite moves. Belly to belly by Crews, overhead, just completely, you know, clean and jerk, snatches him right over the top, which is nice. Back elbow and rolling clotheslines and a boot by Crews. Miz and Ziggler get into a shoving match on the outside. Crews comes out to, you know, get Miz back in the ring because this is his match. Miz tosses Crews into Ziggler. There's a little bit of a scuttlebutt. The skull-crushing finale gets the win for The Miz. And now, I admit that I'm entirely biased. I admit that. I've been a Miz guy for as long as I've had this channel. You guys know this, especially those of you that have been with me the entire 6 years. The skull-crushing finale is fucking beautiful, isn't it? The skull-crushing finale is fucking beautiful. Anyways, Ziggler gets his hands on Miz's belt, stands in the ring as Miz is going up the ramp with Maurice, tries to bait Miz into a fight after the match as he's making his way out of the ring. He's done his match. I've beaten my opponent. You can fuck yourself. We're going to fight on Sunday in this match that I don't think you deserve as the heel champion. Ziggler tries to bait him back into the ring with the belt. Miz sends Maurice in. Maurice, I will say, made me smile because Maurice has that attitude. Maurice was never the best wrestler in the world, let's be real. Even I won't say that. But Maurice, in the get-ups that she's got, in the personality that she's got, being perched up with The Miz, her real-life husband, the arrogance that comes off of her, as she throws the Intercontinental Championship over her shoulder, was fucking great. It just was. We got a highlight reel for the American Alpha, and we got a promo with the Usos in the back, sort of returning the respect that American Alpha showed earlier on, which is nice. The Bray Wyatt, I say the Wyatts because I'm so used to the whole Wyatt family. I'm not used to him being on his own. Bray Wyatt cuts a promo in the back. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors and metaphor, basically making the whole, like, you know, you were the predator, now you were the prey type thing, telling fables about hunters and snakes and all that sort of thing, like Bray Wyatt does. Bray Wyatt, it's a great promo, but we discovered this way back when Bray Wyatt had his feud with The Undertaker, and I tried to sit here and quote the Bray Wyatt promos to you guys, and to be honest, I go back and look at some of those videos about a month after I did them, and they were pretty shit. So I'm not going to try and recant a Bray Wyatt promo to you guys, but the basic idea is, hey Orton, you were the predator, I'm the new predator, you've become the prey, roddy roddy rah, delivered with Bray Wyatt style and panache. Nikki, Becky, and Naomi versus Carmella, Bliss, and Natty. Now pay attention. Bliss and Naomi start the match. Naomi immediately starts with what I call the stupid, no actual contact made dance kicks, and then spanks Carmella. I promise you that is Naomi's entire contribution to this match. Thank God. Lynch works the arm. Carmella and Becky trade punches, pin attempts, and hip toss attempts. Nikki tags in and Carmella bails to the outside very quickly as we go to commercial break. Dropkick splash and a Bexploder by Becky Lynch. Alexa Bliss face plants Becky on the apron. Choke on the ropes by Carmella. Headlock by Natty and a mudhole stomp. Wishbone by Natty and Alexa Bliss. Choke by Bliss and a high knee. kick in the back by Natty, which it's a bog standard kick in the back, isn't it? Front slam and a clothesline. Rolling clotheslines by Nikki. A back elbow, a roundhouse kick. Jawbreaker by Bliss. TKO by Nikki Bella on Carmella causes the entire match to break down. We have sort of one of those finisher central type things. Naomi sort of rolls around in the corner and remains useless as usual. The Code of Silence by Carmella gets the win for the heels, which is fine, because I'm pretty sure the first pinfall in this match on Sunday is going to be Carmella. Not going to get into my predictions on who's going to win on Sunday right now, because as I say, we're going to do the preview tomorrow night. But I will say right now, the first woman eliminated from this match is going to be Carmella. That's my first pseudo prediction, and you can take that one to the bank. The heels win. I'm okay with that because the heels include Alexa Bliss. Oh yeah. Usos versus American Alpha. Now, if they weren't going to have this match at the pay-per-view, I was pissed off momentarily that this was not even the main event of SmackDown. But I'm immediately okay with it, because check out, this is one of the best segments we've seen in a while. Usos, American Alpha, they both come out, they're both babyfaces. After their respective promos in the back showing respect to each other, we're going to be good sports, whatever, they start with a handshake, and the Usos immediately jump American Alpha. That doesn't work very well, because immediately, corner spear on one of the Usos by Jason Jordan, grand amplitude out of fucking nowhere, and American Alpha gets the win in less than 30 seconds, which is fine. They come back. Usos come in the ring with that smile on their face, like, ah ha ha, you got us. Go for the handshake again. They get jumped again. Now, but listen to the breakdown of this, because there's cheap shot super kicks to both members. Jason Jordan gets taken out quickly. They just make him eat the post on the outside, shoulder first, and he lays out for a second. What they do to Jason Jordan, or not Jason Jordan, what's the other one? Ready, Willing, and Chad Gable. There we go. Got there in the end. They basically hold him up, and one of the Usos jumps downward and basically stomps on an angle on the back of his fucking knee, and it looks disgusting. Yes, wrestling is fake. I'm not marking out that hard. But it's still, the way they did it looks disgusting, because whichever one of the Usos, and no, I still can't tell them apart all these years later, jumps up, stomps down on a diagonal on the back of his knee, which is enough to cause an injury, kayfabe or otherwise. But then the other Uso hooks that leg in a single leg Boston Crab, so that you can picture single leg Boston Crab, one of them's curled over, one of the legs is laying out flat, and the Uso that did the stomp comes down with a Superfly splash on the back of the other leg. So he's a fucking gimp in the ring. And we go to commercial break. Now, you guys have known since the brand extension, I have been shitting on Raw, except for the first one, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Roddy Raw. I have been shitting on Raw, and I've been putting up SmackDown. Now, why do I shit on Raw? Because, as I said on Twitter, they give us two different flavors of nobody gives a shit. We have the Club and New Day playing dress up, and we had 3 squash matches in one show. Now, that's a lot of bullshit. Now, somebody's going to look at what happened in this segment that took about 2 minutes and say, well, there's shit on SmackDown too, man. This is the only shit we had on this show. And because this is the only shit we had on this show, I'm okay with it, so go ahead and throw it at me. I will laugh. That is what will happen. Team Blue, motherfuckers. Fandango comes out, talks about his partner not being there because his partner is overseas looking for new silks for their next fashion line, whatever. They're playing up the campy heel tag team. I don't care. It all worked. For whatever reason, Tyler Breeze isn't there this week. He's got a fan in the ring. Gross-ass looking woman with way too many tattoos. I'm not saying tattoos are bad, but I'm saying this woman... sometimes the canvas is just rotten, not the art. Anyways, he starts to dance with her. She starts to dance. And it's terrible. Picture Vicky Guerrero / Elaine Bennis type shit. Fandango goes to kick her out of the ring. She says, it's your loss because my hips don't lie. Roddy Raw. Kane says he wants a better dance partner, somebody with real fire. And of course, everybody rolls their eyes and waits for the obvious and impending arrival of Kane. Kane comes down, chokeslams Fandango, which is fine. He's the big red monster, or he was 10 years ago. Come down, chokeslam the little guy, be a badass, that's cool. But here's the thing, the weird-ass crowd in, I don't know what city they were in, as soon as the chokeslam goes down, there's a Go Big Red chant, which is fine, and then Kane does the finger dance to his Kane music. as I said, shitty segment, took up 2 minutes of the show. Does not nearly make up for the fact that there was 3 squash matches on Raw, along with 2 long-standing feuds that nobody gives a shit about, and a tag team title match that is laughable. Oh yes, we've got more Kurt Hawkins facts, and he is going to arrive next week. He's arriving immediately after a pay-per-view, which seems to be the theme if you all haven't been paying attention. Which is fine. It'll be very interesting to see where the Hype Bros go and where they stand after Backlash. Hype Bros, speaking of the Hype Bros, versus Heath Slater and Rhino. Rhino and Slater start, headlock takedown by Slater, rolling clotheslines by Slater, a dropkick by Ryder. Hype Bros double team. Hype Bros ever so slightly heely in this match because they know the underdog story. And this is the thing. What they're doing with Heath Slater is a legitimate underdog story. He's trying to get himself a fucking job. They're ever so slightly heely, and they sort of bone up on Slater and Rhino in this match. It's all good. Backdrop by Mojo. Ryder slide kicks Slater to the outside. Mojo takes down Rhino on the outside as we go to commercial break. Coming back from the break, Mojo rides a headlock. Rolling tackles by Rhino and a corner spear. Spinebuster by Rhino. Slater tosses Mojo out of the ring. Gore to Ryder by Rhino. And Rhino and Slater get the win. So they're going on to face American Alpha, right? They're going on to face a weakened American Alpha, right? We'll get to that in a moment. Usos backstage with Renee Young, cut the promo that you know that they're going to cut. Da-da-da-da-da. We've been putting our bodies on the line forever and ever and ever. I mean, they do it well, don't get me wrong. You know, we've been the happy, clappy guys putting our bodies on the line. And what happened to them out there? What happened to them out there? They turned on us. They turned on us and went with the new flavor of the one. It's a predictable promo. It's kind of a paint-by-numbers promo. But the fact that it works so well in this scenario, because all the other teams in this tournament, other than the Headbangers, obviously that was fun while it lasted. But Usos are kind of like the elder statesmen in this tournament. So everybody else is new. Everybody else could be dubbed a flavor of the week, while the Usos have been turned on, and really it's a combination of them being boring as shit and being related to Roman Reigns. But the promo did what it was supposed to do. Renee Young sitting at her little interview desk selling the fact that she thinks these guys could while out at any minute. It's all good. Renee Young is fucking underrated as hell. Just putting that one out there. And I'm not just saying that because she's from Toronto. Oh yes, she's from Toronto. Toronto, where I will be at Survivor Series in 2 months. And not only will I be at Survivor Series, the night before Survivor Series, where will I be? Oh yeah, I will be at NXT TakeOver Toronto. Oh yes. Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles have a talking segment to end the show, which isn't the greatest way to end the show, I will admit. But Ambrose dismisses the host right away and gives AJ a trophy out of his backpack. It's a bowling trophy, and he says, that's the only prize you're going to get from me. They replay the crotch spot from last week. Here's the deal. In the back, Renee Young tried to interview AJ Styles earlier in the night. They replayed the crotch shot from last night where he's riding the ropes and whatever. He gets mad. He wants to know who gave her that footage. And then he bullies a cameraman or some sort of tech aide in the back, saying that, hey, if I were to break your headphones, you'd be out of a job, and then your family wouldn't be very proud of you, and you wouldn't think it was very funny at all. And then he broke some other guy's phone because he wasn't taking a picture of him. You know, basically, he's having a heely flip out in the back, bullying everybody, which is fine, and it works. But they replay the crotch spot again. Ambrose mocks AJ, and AJ flips out. He said, Dean Ambrose says, I wanted to give you a high-pitched voice to go with your soccer mom haircut. Styles does what he's been doing for the back. I beat John Cena. I'm the new face that runs the place. I don't want to be handed that title. I'm going to take it from you. Dean Ambrose, being Dean Ambrose, calm, cool, and collected, said, you better either take up bowling for real or take the trophy that I just gave you, because after Sunday, you're going to be the face that came in second place. Which is clever. That's a good one. That might have been written for him by the cheesy writers in the back, but I like that. That's okay. How does AJ respond? Straight boot to the nuts. And that's how we end SmackDown. It is what it is. That's your main event. I mean, if you don't see what's going to happen in the main event at Backlash, you're blind at this point. But it is what it is. I thought I'd give Talking Smack a try and take some notes, because typically I do this review, I pop it up for you guys, and then I watch Talking Smack afterwards just to have a chuckle. it really is interesting how they're trying to give it a behind-the-scenes kind of feel while keeping everything in storyline. So a couple of highlights. I didn't watch all of it, but a couple of highlights are Daniel Bryan taking a lot of shots at Monday Night Raw. People even seem to like our belts better, which is nice. He plugs Total Bellas again, and he bashes the Sasha Banks fake retirement angle from Raw. I don't know how I feel about that, but if they're going that way, then cool. Shane joins the conversation. Renee Young immediately asks him, hey, is SmackDown ever going to go 3 hours? And Daniel Bryan tells her to shut up her mouth or whatever. We're not going 3 hours. There's no need to go 3 hours. That's just silly. Shane McMahon comes to give us the news that he came out to give us, which is that Chad Gable has been checked out. He's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. No surgery, but American Alpha are out of the tag team tournament. Daniel Bryan says, well, that just means we're going to have to give the belts to Slater and Rhino. Shane McMahon says, no, that means we're out a match at Backlash, and this was one of the matches that we sold Backlash on. We can't do that to the fans. So they're doing a second chance match so that the 2 teams that were eliminated tonight have a second chance. So what they're going to do at Backlash is they're going to have the Usos versus the Hype Bros, and the winner of that match will go on the same night to face Slater and Rhino, which is decent. If they took out American Alpha this way, I hope it's because one of them had something else they had to deal with or couldn't be at Backlash for some reason. Because if they just wrote these guys out of the story at the last minute for no reason, that's kind of shit. Shane is sure to tell us before he leaves the interview desk that he doesn't watch Raw. He catches the highlights on WWE.com, which is nice. So going into Backlash, there's not a whole lot, but what we have is good. That's what I'll say about that. We got the Usos versus the Hype Bros, as I mentioned, with the winners going on to face Rhino and Slater to crown the new SmackDown Tag Team Championship. We got the six-pack elimination women's match to crown the first ever SmackDown women's title. Interesting thing to note, if you go to WWE.com, the WWE Tag Team Championships and WWE Women's Championships have been renamed. If you go look right now, Charlotte is referred to as the Raw Women's champion, singular, there's only one of her. Thank God. And New Day are referred to as the Raw Tag Team Champions. So that's a little thing. Everybody was saying it sounded a little funny that you had the WWE titles over here and the SmackDown titles over here, like they were lesser. But it's going to be a case of the SmackDown titles over here, the Raw titles over here, which makes sense. Because the last time there was a brand extension, one of the titles was World, and one of the titles was WWE, and one of the titles was Diva, and one of the titles was Women. Which didn't make any sense because those titles then hopped brands and then it just got all messy. So cut to the chase, make it nice and simple. The Raw Tag Team titles, the SmackDown Tag Team titles, the Raw Women's title, the SmackDown Women's title. They could do it with the main titles as well. I don't know why they didn't. And I mean, the Intercontinental and US titles have their own separate history, so leave them as they are. I thought that was interesting, worth mentioning, not a huge deal whatsoever. We got Orton versus Wyatt. We got Miz versus Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship, which I will say right now I'm expecting to be one of the sleeper matches of the night. And we got Ambrose versus Styles for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It looks like a good show. Gonna get more into detail tomorrow night with Kristen and Guapo. Hope you guys tune in. The thing, I don't know what you call it. If you guys are subscribed to me, you go to your feeds or whatever, and you will see the thing that says, hey, there's a hangout happening in 24 hours, whatever. If you guys want, you don't have to. By all means, you don't have to. But if you want to take that link, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, I would really appreciate it because the conversations we get going in that chat section while we're doing the live broadcasts are a lot of fun. I encourage you to join them. I encourage you to spread it around, make that conversation ever bigger as we do. Anyways, Backlash is this Sunday. Probably not going to have an NXT or CWC review this week, and as I say, that might be a trend going forward with the way my Wednesdays are going to change a little bit. I haven't entirely decided what I'm going to do with that, but there is a change coming. It might be a little on the unfortunate side, but if I have to make a change, I have to make a change. That's about it. I dare somebody to tell me that this show wasn't better than Raw. The only shit on this show was like this long. I mean, Naomi was in a match, but she was buried under 4 other better talents and Natty. So there was that. The wicked heel turn angle for the Usos, which is great. It means we're going to get 2 tag team matches on the pay-per-view instead of 1, which is fine, which means both the Hype Bros and Slater and Rhino and the Usos are all getting pay-per-view time. Now, that leaves Alpha out of the mix, which really makes me question whether something's actually up with one of those guys, or whether they've just written them off to make their chase to the titles longer, or they're going to have a comeback story, or they're going to go feud with the Usos later on down the line. Don't know how that's going to go. But it's the most interested any of us have been in the Usos in a long-ass time, so I got to give WWE credit for that one. You can obviously see why they didn't make that the main event of SmackDown like I thought it was going to be. Yeah, tell me what you thought of SmackDown down below. I'm really loving SmackDown, as you guys know. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Team Blue!
Like me, don't apologize. They can hold you down. You were born to rise. It's our time now to come out. If you're a freak like me.